Welcome back, soap opera enthusiasts, to our in-depth analysis of the latest episode of The Bold and the Beautiful. Today, we're diving headfirst into a whirlwind of emotions, betrayals, and shocking confrontations that have left us all on the edge of our seats. Grab your popcorn and settle in, because we're about to unpack one of the most explosive episodes this season has seen so far. Brooke returns home, seething with anger after being rejected by Ridge. Her fury intensifies when she encounters Hope, her daughter. In a shocking turn of events, Brooke unleashes her rage upon Hope, blaming her for everything that has gone wrong. Brooke accuses Hope of greed, claiming that her actions have ruined many things. She specifically points to Hope's encouragement of Carter to take over Forrester Creations as the catalyst for the deterioration of Ridge and Brooke's relationship. Despite Hope being her daughter, Brooke refuses to cover up for her mistakes, demonstrating the depth of her anger and disappointment. This moment of confrontation between Brooke and Hope is a pivotal point in their relationship, showcasing the complex dynamics that often exist between mothers and daughters, especially in the high-stakes world of The Bold and the Beautiful. Brooke's reaction, while extreme, stems from a place of deep hurt and betrayal. She feels that Hope's actions have not only affected her personal life, but have also had far-reaching consequences for the family business and their standing in the fashion world. Hope, unwilling to accept the blame, stands her ground. This leads to a fierce argument between mother and daughter. Hope accuses Brooke of prioritizing Ridge over her own child, questioning the sincerity of Ridge's feelings and whether they truly warrant such devotion from Brooke. This counter-argument from Hope reveals her own insecurities and the long-standing issues in their family dynamics. Hope's perspective challenges viewers to consider the impact of Brooke's romantic entanglements on her children and the broader family structure. The confrontation takes a dark turn when Brooke, in a moment of uncontrolled rage, insults Hope by calling her a derogatory term. This verbal assault proves to be the breaking point for Hope. The use of such strong language by Brooke marks a significant escalation in their argument and crosses a line that may be difficult to come back from. It's a moment that shocks not only Hope but likely the audience as well, showcasing the raw and unfiltered emotions that The Bold and the Beautiful is known for portraying. Overwhelmed by anger and hurt, Hope slaps Brooke across the face. This physical act of defiance marks a significant breach in their mother-daughter relationship. While Hope's action is extreme, it underscores the intensity of her emotions and the depth of the wound inflicted by Brooke's words. The slap serves as a physical manifestation of the emotional pain and frustration that has been building between them, perhaps for years. It's a moment that will likely have long-lasting repercussions for their relationship and could potentially alter the course of both their storylines moving forward. The situation is interrupted by Katie, who happens to witness the altercation. She intervenes, pushing Hope away from Brooke, potentially preventing further physical confrontation. Katie's presence adds another layer to the scene, bringing in a third perspective and a potential mediator. Her intervention could be seen as a voice of reason in the heat of the moment, or it might be perceived as taking sides, depending on how the characters and viewers interpret her actions. The consequences of this heated exchange are immediate and far-reaching, setting the stage for potential long-term murmurs in the relationships between these characters. In the wake of the physical altercation, Brooke demands that Hope leave the house immediately. This expulsion from the family home symbolizes a severe fracture in their relationship and could lead to a prolonged estrangement. Brooke's decision to kick Hope out is a drastic step that emphasizes the severity of their conflict and sets the stage for Finnick's storylines involving Hope's living situation and her place within the family structure. Hope leaves the house in tears, conflicted about her actions. While she regrets being disrespectful to her mother, she feels justified given the severity of Brooke's insults. In this moment, Hope decides to sever ties with Brooke, marking a potential point of no return in their relationship. This internal conflict within Hope adds depth to her character, showing that even in her anger and hurt, she's aware of the gravity of her actions. The decision to cut ties with Brooke is not made lightly, and viewers can expect to see the emotional fallout from this choice in future episodes. Driven by hurt and a desire for retribution, Hope seeks to punish Brooke for her harsh treatment. This shift in Hope's character from victim to aggressor is an interesting development that could lead to a more complex and morally ambiguous portrayal of her character. It raises questions about the cycle of hurt and revenge and how far a person might go when they feel they've been wronged by someone they love. Hope approaches Carter with a drastic demand: fire Brooke from her position. Her reasoning is that without Ridge and now with a job, Brooke will struggle, teaching her a lesson about the consequences of mistreating Hope. This move showcases Hope's willingness to use her influence and relationships to exact revenge, even at the cost of her mother's livelihood. It's a bold and potentially destructive action that could have far-reaching consequences, not just for Brooke, but for the entire Forrester Creations company and the family dynamics within it. Carter finds himself in a difficult position. He recognizes Brooke's professional capabilities and is reluctant to let personal matters interfere with business decisions. His hesitation highlights the ethical dilemma of mixing personal vendettas with professional responsibilities. Carter's character is put to the test here, as he must navigate the complex web of personal relationships and professional obligations that often intersect in the world of the bold and the beautiful. His decision will not only affect Brooke and Hope, but could also impact his own standing within the company and his relationships with other characters. In a bold move, Hope threatens to end her relationship with Carter if he doesn't comply with her demand. This ultimatum puts immense pressure on Carter, forcing him to choose between his professional integrity and his personal relationship with Hope. This situation presents a complex moral dilemma that resonates beyond the confines of the show's plot. It asks viewers to consider what they would do in Carter's position and how they value personal relationships versus professional ethics. Carter's predicament raises important questions about the boundaries between personal and professional life. Should he prioritize the company's interests by retaining a competent employee, or should he prioritize his relationship with Hope? This dilemma is not uncommon in the real world, where personal and professional lives often intersect, especially in family-run businesses. Carter's decision will reveal much about his character and his priorities, potentially setting the stage for future conflicts or alliances within the show. Hope's desire for revenge, while understandable given the emotional hurt she's experienced, raises questions about the destructive nature of vengeance. Will her actions truly bring her satisfaction, or will they only perpetuate a cycle of hurt and retaliation? This storyline delves into the psychological aspects of revenge and its consequences, providing rich material for character development and plot twists in future episodes. The episode serves as a pivotal moment in the evolution of several key relationships within the show. The once strong mother-daughter bond between Brooke and Hope has been severely damaged. The road to reconciliation, if possible at all, will likely be long and fraught with challenges. This rift opens up numerous storytelling possibilities, from potential alliances with other characters to personal growth arcs for both Brooke and Hope. Carter's response to Hope's ultimatum will be a defining moment in their relationship. It will reveal much about Carter's character and the strength of their bond. Depending on his decision, we could see a shift in power dynamics, a deepening of their relationship, or potentially a dramatic breakup that could reshape the landscape of relationships within the show. With the potential loss of both Ridge and Hope, as well as the threat to her career, Brooke finds herself in an increasingly isolated position. How she navigates this period of adversity will be crucial to her character's development. Brooke's journey through this difficult time could lead to introspection, potential alliances with unexpected characters, or even a dramatic reinvention of her persona. Her resilience in the face of these challenges will be a key factor in determining her path forward. This episode of The Bold and the Beautiful delivers high-stakes drama that will have lasting implications for all characters involved. The complex interplay of emotions, loyalty, and revenge creates a compelling narrative that keeps viewers on the edge of their seats. The writers have skillfully woven together personal conflicts, professional dilemmas, and family dynamics to create a rich tapestry of storytelling that promises to unfold in exciting ways in the coming episodes. The confrontation between Brooke and Hope serves as a catalyst for numerous potential storylines. We might see alliances shift, with characters taking sides in the conflict. There's potential for Ridge to be drawn back into the drama, possibly forced to choose between Brooke and Hope. The professional ramifications at Forrester Creations could lead to power struggles and corporate intrigue, adding another layer of complexity to the personal drama. The ethical dilemma faced by Carter opens up discussions about professional integrity and the challenges of navigating personal relationships in a business environment. His decision could have far-reaching consequences, not just for his relationship with Hope, but for his career and standing within the company. It also raises questions about the nature of loyalty and whether personal feelings should influence professional decisions. Hope's character development in this episode is particularly noteworthy. Her transformation from victim to aggressor shows a darker side to her personality and raises questions about how far she's willing to go in pursuit of revenge. This could lead to a fascinating character arc, possibly pushing Hope into morally ambiguous territory and challenging viewers' perceptions of her. Brooke's isolation sets the stage for potential redemption arcs or further downfall. Will she find allies in unexpected places? Will this series of setbacks lead to a period of self-reflection and growth? Or will she double down on her behavior, potentially alienating more people in her life? The answers to these questions promise to provide compelling storylines in future episodes. The introduction of Katie as a witness to the confrontation adds another layer of complexity to the family dynamics. How will she navigate her loyalties between her sister Brooke and her niece Hope? Will she become a mediator in their conflict, or will she be forced to take sides? Katie's involvement could lead to interesting subplots and alliances forming within the extended family. As we eagerly await the next installment, we're left with several burning questions. Will Carter give in to Hope's demands and fire Brooke? Can the relationship between Brooke and Hope ever be repaired? How will these events affect the dynamics at Forrester Creation? What will be Ridge's reaction when he learns of the confrontation between Brooke and Hope? The answers to these questions promise to unfold in the coming episodes, ensuring that The Bold and the Beautiful continues to deliver the intense drama and complex character dynamics that have made it a beloved staple of daytime television. The fallout from this explosive episode will likely ripple through multiple storylines affecting not just the main players but also peripheral characters. We might see shifts in alliances, unexpected sympathies developing, and new conflicts arising as different characters react to and take sides in the Brooke-Hope feud. This could lead to exciting new pairings and rivalries that will keep viewers tuning in to see how it all unfolds. Moreover, this episode touches on themes that resonate beyond the world of soap operas. It explores the complexities of mother-daughter relationships, the destructive nature of revenge, the challenges of balancing personal and professional life, and the consequences of letting emotions drive major decisions. These universal themes allow viewers to connect with the characters on a deeper level, even as they enjoy the heightened drama and glamour that The Bold and the Beautiful is known for. In conclusion, this episode of The Bold and the Beautiful has set the stage for a thrilling new chapter in the show's ongoing saga. With its mix of high emotional stakes, moral dilemmas, and potential for far-reaching consequences, it promises to keep viewers engaged and eagerly anticipating each new development. The complex web of relationships, loyalties, and conflicts established in this episode will undoubtedly provide rich material for the writers to explore in the weeks and months to come. Thank you for joining us in this deep dive into the latest episode of The Bold and the Beautiful. We hope you enjoyed this analysis and discussion of the dramatic events and their potential implications for future storylines. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth looks at your favorite soap operas. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode and your predictions for what might happen next. Share your opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, keep watching, and remember, in the world of The Bold and the Beautiful, anything can happen. Next, we will learn about the issue of Brooke Logan's precarious position as she attempts to leverage Ridge Forrester's triumphant return to power at Forrester Creations, hoping to rekindle their romance while facing unexpected obstacles and potential heartbreak. A future filled with difficult choices. The coming weeks may force Brooke Logan into making one of the most challenging decisions of her storied career at Forrester Creations. As the emotional fallout from recent events continues to reverberate through the halls of the fashion house, Brooke finds herself at a crossroads that could fundamentally alter both her professional trajectory and personal happiness. The question looming over her perfectly coiffed head grows more pressing with each passing day. Can she continue working alongside the man she considers her soulmate if he has truly committed his heart to another? The palatial offices of Forrester Creations, once a sanctuary where Brooke built her legendary career, may transform into a daily emotional gauntlet should Ridge firmly establish his relationship with Taylor. Each design meeting would become an exercise in restraint, each accidental brush in the hallway a reminder of what she's lost. Industry insiders close to the situation suggest that Brooke's legendary resilience is being tested like never before, with some wondering if even she has limits to the emotional strain she can endure. Should Brooke ultimately determine that Ridge's heart is irretrievably lost to her, a professional departure from Forrester Creations might become not just advisable, but necessary for her emotional well-being. This potential exit would represent a seismic shift in the Los Angeles fashion landscape, given Brooke's decades-long association with the company and her status as the creator of the internationally renowned bedroom line that revolutionized the industry years ago. Interestingly, this potential career upheaval coincides with her daughter Hope's own professional crisis, creating a unique mother-daughter parallel that hasn't escaped the notice of close observers. Fashion industry analysts speculate that Spencer Publications, with its vast resources and global reach, could provide a soft landing spot for both Logan women should they find themselves persona non grata at Forrester Creations. Bill Spencer's long-standing affection for Brooke creates a natural pathway to this transition, though such a move would inevitably be interpreted by Ridge as the ultimate betrayal given his well-documented animosity toward the publishing magnate. The mere possibility of Brooke aligning professionally with Bill would likely trigger Ridge's notorious jealousy, potentially complicating an already volatile situation and perhaps even causing him to question his commitment to Taylor. This speculative professional realignment remains contingent on how events unfold in the coming weeks, particularly regarding Ridge's response to Brooke's emotional overtures. Fashion industry veterans familiar with the cyclical nature of Brooke and Ridge's relationship caution against premature conclusions, noting that what appears to be a definitive separation has often proven temporary in their tumultuous history. Hope's potential reconciliation and its implications. The complex family dynamics at play extend beyond Brooke's romantic entanglements to encompass her daughter Hope's potential reconciliation with former husband Liam Spencer. Sources close to the Spencer heir indicate that despite the bitter end to their most recent attempt at matrimony, Liam has never fully closed the door on their relationship, maintaining a flickering flame of affection that could easily reignite under the right circumstances. Spencer Publications, with its diverse media portfolio spanning fashion magazines, digital platforms, and international publishing ventures, represents a natural professional haven for Hope should she seek to rebuild her career following the Hope for the Future line's collapse. Liam's position within the company hierarchy would facilitate this transition, providing Hope with both emotional support and professional opportunity during a period of profound uncertainty. Industry observers note that Bill Spencer has historically demonstrated a willingness to leverage his considerable resources to support those in his son's orbit, particularly when doing so might simultaneously advance his own interests. The possibility of bringing both Hope and Brooke under the Spencer Publications umbrella would represent a significant coup for the publishing titan, potentially shifting the balance of power in the Los Angeles fashion scene while delivering a pointed message to his longtime rival Ridge Forrester. The potential for this mother-daughter professional realignment carries significant storytelling potential, creating opportunities to explore the complex dynamics between these strong-willed women as they navigate unfamiliar professional territory while processing parallel romantic disappointments. Their shared experience of loving and losing Forrester men could strengthen their already formidable bond, potentially positioning them as a force to be reckoned with in the cutthroat world of high fashion. However, this speculative narrative development remains contingent on multiple factors, including Hope's willingness to forgive Liam for past transgressions and Brooke's ability to move beyond her enduring attachment to Ridge. The coming weeks will likely provide greater clarity regarding these unresolved emotional entanglements and their potential professional implications. Brooke's misjudgment of Ridge's emotional state. Brooke Logan's fundamental miscalculation regarding Ridge Forrester's emotional availability mirrors her daughter Hope's recent strategic error, suggesting a potentially inherited blind spot when it comes to accurately assessing the Forrester men's state of mind. Despite her decades of intimate knowledge of Ridge's psychological patterns, Brooke appears to have misinterpreted his recent professional triumph as an opening for romantic reconciliation, failing to recognize the profound emotional damage inflicted by recent events. The palatial Forrester mansion has witnessed countless reconciliations between these star-crossed lovers over the years, each reunion seemingly more passionate than the last as they overcome whatever obstacle had temporarily separated them. This established pattern has perhaps conditioned Brooke to expect that Ridge's emotional pendulum will inevitably swing back in her direction, regardless of how definitive their most recent separation appeared to be. Fashion industry insiders familiar with the couple's tumultuous history note that Brooke's confidence in their inevitable reunion isn't entirely misplaced, given Ridge's well-documented tendency to oscillate between the two women who have dominated his romantic life. Ridge and Brooke always find their way back to each other, remarked one longtime Forrester Creations employee who requested anonymity. It's practically written in the stars at this point. However, close observers of Ridge's recent behavior detect a potential shift in his emotional landscape, suggesting that the betrayal he experienced at Carter's hands, compounded by Brooke's subsequent acceptance of the CEO position, may have inflicted a wound too deep for even their legendary passion to heal. The uncharacteristic steadiness he's displayed in his commitment to Taylor has raised eyebrows among those accustomed to his romantic vacillations, prompting speculation that this time might truly be different. Brooke's inability to recognize this potential sea change in Ridge's emotional availability represents a significant blind spot, one that could lead to further heartbreak if she continues pursuing a reconciliation strategy based on outdated assumptions about his feelings. Her recent attempts to leverage his professional triumph as an entree to romantic reconnection have been met with a polite but firm distance that should serve as a warning sign, though Brooke appears determined to interpret these signals through the lens of her own desires rather than Ridge's current reality. This fundamental misreading of Ridge's emotional state sets the stage for potentially dramatic confrontations as Brooke's persistence collides with Ridge's newfound commitment to Taylor, creating a volatile situation that could have far-reaching implications for all involved. The trust issue at the heart of Ridge's hesitation. While Ridge Forrester's love for Brooke Logan remains an immutable fact, one he has never denied even during their most bitter separations, the erosion of trust between them represents a far more formidable obstacle to reconciliation than Brooke appears willing to acknowledge. This distinction between love and trust lies at the heart of Ridge's current emotional stance, creating a nuanced situation that defies Brooke's simplified interpretation. The palatial Forrester estate has witnessed countless declarations of undying love between these iconic figures over the decades, passionate promises that seemed unbreakable in the moment, yet somehow always found themselves tested by circumstance. Through it all, Ridge's fundamental affection for Brooke has remained a constant, a North Star in the turbulent sea of their relationship that neither time nor tribulation has managed to extinguish. However, industry insiders familiar with the couple's complex history note that Ridge's patience with Brooke's self-destructive tendencies has been steadily diminishing in recent years, creating a growing disconnect between his enduring love and his diminishing faith in her judgment. "Ridge has always loved Brooke. That's never been in question," remarked one longtime Forrester Creations executive who requested anonymity. "But loving someone and trusting them are two very different things." Brooke's pattern of impulsive decisions, culminating in her acceptance of the CEO position at Forrester Creations during the company's hostile takeover, has reinforced Ridge's perception that she lacks the emotional maturity necessary for a stable partnership. Each instance of questionable judgment has chipped away at the foundation of trust between them, creating fractures that even their legendary passion struggles to overcome. Fashion industry veterans familiar with the couple's dynamics suggest that Brooke's fundamental misunderstanding lies in her belief that love alone can sustain their relationship, failing to recognize that Ridge has reached a point where emotional connection without reliability has become insufficient. Her continued attempts to appeal to his heart while ignoring his legitimate concerns about her decision-making process demonstrate this disconnect, potentially dooming her reconciliation efforts before they've truly begun. This trust deficit creates a far more complex obstacle than Brooke appears prepared to address, requiring not just passionate declarations of love, but a fundamental reassessment of the patterns that have repeatedly undermined their relationship. Until she acknowledges and addresses these deeper issues, her attempts to leverage Ridge's professional triumph as a pathway to romantic reconciliation seem destined to fall short. Taylor, the safe harbor in Ridge's emotional storm. The acceleration of Ridge Forrester's reconnection with Taylor Hayes following her presumed terminal diagnosis introduces a fascinating psychological dimension to their renewed relationship, one that merits deeper examination. The existential crisis triggered by the prospect of losing Taylor forever appears to have crystallized Ridge's feelings with unusual clarity, cutting through the ambivalence that has characterized his romantic life for decades. The elegant cliff house overlooking the Pacific Ocean has become a sanctuary for Ridge, a place where the emotional chaos of race events gives way to the calming presence of a woman whose stability and emotional maturity stand in stark contrast to the turbulence he associates with Brooke. Industry insiders familiar with the situation suggest that Taylor represents not just a romantic alternative, but a fundamentally different approach to life, one characterized by thoughtful consideration rather than impulsive action. Taylor offers Ridge something he's never consistently had with Brooke: emotional predictability, observed one longtime associate of the Forrester family who requested anonymity. After the upheaval with Carter and the company, that stability has become more valuable to him than passion. The soap opera element of Taylor's health crisis undeniably accelerated their reunion, compressing what might have been a gradual reconciliation into an intense reconnection driven by the fear of imminent loss. This compressed timeline has raised questions about the sustainability of their relationship once the immediate crisis has passed, with some wondering whether Ridge's commitment stems from genuine preference or situational pressure. Fashion industry veterans familiar with Ridge's psychological patterns note that his attraction to Taylor has historically intensified during periods of professional or emotional upheaval, suggesting that his current commitment may be at least partially motivated by a desire for sanctuary rather than a fundamental shift in his romantic priorities. This pattern raises legitimate questions about the longevity of their reconnection once the immediate crisis has passed and normal life resumes. However, close observers of Ridge's recent behavior detect subtle differences in his demeanor that suggest this reunion may have deeper roots than previous reconciliations. The uncharacteristic certainty with which he's approached this relationship, coupled with his willingness to maintain his commitment even after the immediate health crisis passed, indicates a potential maturation in his approach to romance that shouldn't be dismissed as merely situational. This complex psychological landscape creates significant obstacles for Brooke's reconciliation efforts, as she finds herself competing not just with Taylor as an individual, but with the sense of peace and stability that Taylor represents in Ridge's tumultuous life. The Carter-Hope alliance that shattered trust. The calculated deception orchestrated by Carter Walton at Hope Logan's urging represents the catalyst that fundamentally altered Ridge Forrester's emotional landscape, creating ripple effects that continue to impact his romantic decisions. This betrayal by a man Ridge considered not merely a friend but a brother inflicted a wound far deeper than typical business rivalries, striking at the heart of his ability to trust those closest to him. The opulent Forrester Creations boardroom, traditionally a space for creative collaboration and family unity, became the site of Ridge's most profound professional humiliation when Carter revealed his strategic manipulation of the LLC documentation. Industry insiders familiar with the situation describe Ridge's expression in that moment as one of absolute devastation, reflecting not just the loss of corporate control, but the shattering of a friendship he had considered unbreakable. Ridge has weathered countless business challenges over the years, noted one longtime Forrester Creations executive who requested anonymity, but Carter's betrayal was different. It was personal in a way that cut deeper than any corporate takeover could. Hope's role as the architect of this deception added an additional layer of complexity to the situation, reinforcing Ridge's long-standing concerns about the Logan family's influence on those in their orbit. His immediate conclusion that Hope had corrupted Carter's moral compass reflects a psychological pattern of attributing negative outcomes to Logan influence, a tendency that has colored his perspective throughout his tumultuous relationship with Brooke. Fashion industry veterans familiar with the Forrester-Logan dynamics suggest that Ridge's reaction to this betrayal represents a crystallization of anxieties that have simmered beneath the surface for years, providing concrete evidence for his worst fears about the Logan family's impact on his life. This confirmation of his suspicions has hardened his emotional defenses, making him particularly resistant to Brooke's reconciliation efforts despite their long history. The professional humiliation Ridge experienced when Carter outmaneuvered him and Steffi struck at the heart of his identity as a business leader and Forrester patriarch, roles that have always been central to his self-concept. This blow to his professional pride, coupled with the personal betrayal by a trusted friend, created a perfect storm of emotional vulnerability that made Taylor's steady, supportive presence particularly appealing in contrast to Brooke's perceived alignment with the forces that had undermined him. This complex web of betrayal, humiliation, and shattered trust forms the emotional backdrop against which Brooke's reconciliation efforts must be evaluated, creating obstacles far more formidable than she appears to recognize. Brooke's critical misstep. Brooke Logan's acceptance of the chief executive officer position at Forrester Creations during its hostile takeover represents perhaps the most significant miscalculation in her recent history, a decision that continues to reverberate through her personal and professional life. What she intended as a strategic move to potentially help the Forrester family regain control was interpreted by Ridge as opportunistic betrayal, creating a perception gap that has proven nearly impossible to bridge. The lavish press conference, where Brooke was introduced as the new CEO, complete with champagne flutes and fashion industry luminaries, created optics that directly contradicted her stated intentions. Social media exploded with images of Brooke smiling alongside Carter Walton, presenting a united front that appeared to legitimize the hostile takeover in the eyes of the fashion world. Industry insiders familiar with Ridge's reaction described him as physically ill when these images appeared on his phone, each smiling photograph driving a deeper wedge between him and the woman he has loved for decades. Brooke genuinely believed she could work from within to restore Forrester control, explained one longtime associate who requested anonymity. But the public celebration made that explanation sound hollow, even to those who wanted to believe her. Her subsequent explanation to Ridge that she had accepted the position with the intention of working behind the scenes to return the company to Forrester control came too late to mitigate the damage, her words drowned out by the visual evidence of her apparent celebration of the Forrester family's misfortune. This timing issue, the explanation following rather than preceding the public announcement, created a credibility gap that even their long history couldn't overcome. Fashion industry veterans familiar with the Forrester-Logan dynamics note that this incident played directly into Ridge's worst fears about Brooke's loyalty, providing what appeared to be concrete evidence that when forced to choose between personal advancement and loyalty to him, she would prioritize her own interests. This perception, whether accurate or not, has created an obstacle to reconciliation that transcends their usual romantic difficulties. The timing of this misstep proved particularly devastating, coming at precisely the moment when Ridge was most emotionally vulnerable following Carter's betrayal. This confluence of events created a perfect storm that pushed Ridge further into Taylor's welcoming arms, establishing a narrative in his mind that contrasted Brooke's perceived opportunism with Taylor's unwavering support during his darkest professional hour. This critical miscalculation continues to cast a long shadow over Brooke's reconciliation efforts, creating a trust deficit that her declarations of love alone cannot overcome. Ridge's emotional breaking point. The profound emotional impact of Carter Walton's betrayal on Ridge Forrester cannot be overstated, representing a breaking point that fundamentally altered his psychological landscape and created ripple effects throughout his personal and professional relationships. This wasn't merely a business setback, but an existential crisis that struck at the core of his identity and worldview. The magnificent Forrester mansion, typically a sanctuary of luxury and familial connection, became the site of Ridge's emotional unraveling as he processed the magnitude of Carter's deception. Witnesses describe him pacing the ornate living room like a wounded animal, alternating between explosive anger and devastating quiet, as he struggled to reconcile the actions of a man he had considered family with his understanding of loyalty and trust. "I've never seen Ridge so completely shattered," confided one longtime household staff member who requested anonymity. "Not during any of his breakups with Brooke, not during any previous business crisis. This was different. It was like something fundamental broke inside him." The humiliation factor significantly amplified the emotional impact, as Ridge was forced to acknowledge that he and Steffi had been outmaneuvered by someone they had implicitly trusted. This professional embarrassment struck at Ridge's self-image as a savvy business leader and protector of the Forrester legacy, roles central to his identity and sense of purpose. Fashion industry veterans familiar with Ridge's psychological patterns note that this betrayal activated his deepest insecurities about judgment and trust, creating a heightened state of emotional vulnerability that made him particularly receptive to Taylor's unconditional support and understanding. The timing of her re-entry into his life, offering comfort without judgment or agenda, created a stark contrast with Brooke's perceived alignment with the forces that had undermined him. The immediate attribution of Carter's betrayal to Hope Logan's influence reflects Ridge's long-standing tendency to view the Logan family through a lens of suspicion, a psychological pattern that has colored his relationship with Brooke despite their enduring passion. This attribution provided a convenient framework that allowed him to process the betrayal while reinforcing existing biases, creating a narrative that positioned Taylor as the safe alternative to Brooke's perceived chaos. This profound emotional rupture created the perfect conditions for Ridge's reconnection with Taylor to accelerate beyond its natural progression, establishing a foundation for their relationship built on her role as emotional savior during his darkest hour, a powerful bond that presents significant obstacles to Brooke's reconciliation efforts. Brooke's strategic miscalculation. Brooke Logan's current approach to rekindling her relationship with Ridge Forrester reveals a fundamental misreading of the emotional landscape, a strategic error that mirrors her daughter Hope's recent miscalculation regarding Carter Walton's manipulability. This pattern of misjudgment suggests a potentially inherited blind spot when it comes to accurately assessing the psychological state of the Forrester men in their lives. The opulent Logan mansion has been the site of Brooke's intensive strategizing in recent weeks as she attempts to leverage Ridge's professional triumph as a pathway to romantic reconciliation. Industry insiders familiar with her thinking describe a woman convinced that the restoration of Ridge's corporate power will naturally lead to a restoration of their relationship, a linear progression that fails to account for the complex emotional aftermath of recent events. "Brooke sees Ridge's return to power as momentum she can ride back into his heart," explained one longtime associate who requested anonymity. "But she's fundamentally misreading how deeply the trust issues have affected him." This strategic error stems from Brooke's tendency to view their relationship primarily through the lens of passion rather than trust, an approach that has successfully reunited them numerous times in the past but appears insufficient in the current context. Fashion industry veterans familiar with the couple's history note that previous reconciliations typically followed passionate impulses rather than rational considerations, a pattern that has conditioned Brooke to believe in the inevitability of their reunion regardless of circumstantial obstacles. The parallel between Brooke's current miscalculation and Hope's recent error in judgment regarding Carter's manipulability suggests a potentially shared blind spot in their approach to the Forrester men. Both women demonstrated an overconfidence in their ability to predict and influence the emotional responses of these men, failing to recognize the depth of principle that would ultimately guide their decisions. This strategic misstep is compounded by Brooke's apparent unwillingness to acknowledge the severity of the trust issues between them, preferring instead to focus on their undeniable emotional connection as the primary pathway to reconciliation. While Ridge has never denied his continuing love for Brooke, her failure to address his legitimate concerns about trust and judgment creates a fundamental disconnect in their communication that undermines her reconciliation efforts.